What's up? It's Pat here. I wanted today to do an impromptu product research session. It would be like if you and I sat down at an office or in a Starbucks and we were starting an Amazon business together and we were thinking about, okay, what product opportunities are there going to be in the 2020s as we go sort of later into this decade? What are we looking at? Because we want to build a lasting, profitable, being the keyword, Amazon business that can last for 10, 15 years going into the future. And it's going to kick off cash flow and it's going to improve our lives. It's going to make us so that we don't have to worry about money. And all of that stuff hinges on what product we sell. You could be the best entrepreneur in the world, but then if you want to compete in iPhone cases, it's just going to be an uphill battle. Or a protein powder, a generic protein powder, vitamin C tablets. It's going to be tough. And if you can choose what to sell, why not give yourself just a much easier path with better results, with less money invested and less money at risk? And my advice when it comes to picking product ideas is not what you'd see in the mainstream. It's not what the product research apps are going to tell you. It's not what people who sell courses are going to tell you. I have a different outlook on it, as you'll see in a second. The reason I have a different outlook is because we run an Amazon ad agency and we see a bunch of different sellers in every possible niche. So I've advertised those phone cases, I've advertised the protein powder, I've advertised the vitamin C tablets, but I've also advertised a bunch of other stuff, and that stuff tends to do better. So that's where we're going to go. And specifically, I'm going to start out here. We're just going to browse around and we'll try to find some good opportunities. Um, I'm going to start where very few people would start, but that's kind of the point. I'm going to start in industrial and scientific. Okay. And the reason I want to start here is that there's two spaces in the 2020s that I think are going to be really underrated and continue to be underrated and have some great opportunities. One is industrial and scientific, and the other is B2B, so business to business stuff. There are so many businesses buying stuff for regular operations on Amazon, and there are also a bunch of people looking for the industrial and scientific stuff on Amazon. I don't know that people should sell as we go closer to 2030. I don't know that they should sell stuff that could be found in a physical Walmart store as much, right? There's going to be an influx of sellers selling that stuff. If you want an edge in terms of product selection, I think you want to sell something a little bit unusual that can't be accessed at a Walmart. Therefore, those shoppers have to go online. Therefore, they go to Amazon. Amazon's most of online purchases, after all. So, for that reason, I like industrial and scientific. Um, my next sort of filter or criteria, we could say, is I want to steer clear of anything majorly seasonal. So stuff like education, I've just seen from experience, has a boom and bust cycle. Every fall, August, September, it'll boom, and then those kids are off for months in the summer, so you'll have a really dry summer period. I guess there's school camps and stuff like that, but it's not, the revenue is not substantial. um, so I'll steer clear of those categories. The other thing is I would like to avoid any sort of liability. So stuff that could go crazy wrong, stuff that we need special certifications for. So we could take a look at safety, but I would be more hesitant to do that. There's more that can go wrong with a pair of safety goggles than with, a janitorial, um, a garbage can, for example. The other thing that I want to look for is stuff that's relatively high ticket. I'm not too interested in selling a product for anything less than, even say, like $50. I'm not super interested. The reason is, and people don't really know or discuss this, but because we run so many ads, I can tell you this: the cost per click, whether you're selling a $100 thing or like a $10 thing, is really similar, and you're going to pay to acquire a customer either way. So it's your choice. Do you want to spend 85 cents a click to sell a $10 item, $15 item, or do you want to make $100 every time you sell one? So that's just kind of, and then my last sort of criteria that I would look for is I want something, preferably, and this is more of a nice to have, preferably I would like something that could be consumed over and over again so that I can get some customer loyalty going. Maybe on my own Shopify site, I could start a subscription. Maybe on Amazon, I could use subscribe and save. I am a fan of that sort of stuff because again, it's not really a matter of how much you can sell it for one time. It's a matter of your cost of acquisition versus the lifetime value of that customer, right? So, say that we were selling to um, restaurants, and every month they might buy $50 worth of stuff from us. That's good, but we could certainly, if they have a good experience with it, we could certainly get repeat orders, because it's a consumable. It's something they use, and then they continue to do that. So I'm in industrial and scientific, and let's, just for the sake of comparison, look at the categories that we have here, right? Material handling, tapes and adhesive, electrical, metalwork, lab equipment. Um, yeah, and then we can go by profession. We'll get into all this stuff in a second. It's going to be awesome. But I want you to compare this. Do you think this could you break in terms of reviews and listing optimization, and could you compete with these guys, or would you rather compete with these guys? You know, kettles, s- forks and spoons and pillows and you know tables, soap, right? All somewhat low ticket, well known household name brands in that stack every category. Martha Stewart, when's the last time you wanted to compete with Martha Stewart? My goodness. But this, you know sure, there are brand names that are known in each of these, but I bet you can't name too many. you know 3M maybe in some of these, but my goodness, I mean, there's no household name for school chairs, right? Maybe if you're in the industry, but yeah, my goodness, and it's hard to get, so people are going to buy it online. Remember, only 15% of total retail sales in America are online still. We have 80% plus going on in physical retail. So the way you get around that to some extent is to sell something that can't, by definition, be stocked by Walmart because it's a little too niche. Yet, you have a massive audience for pretty much everything on Amazon. Amazon is a marketplace that is at scale now. 3D printers is another one I want to see. Let's open up a few of these, okay? Let's take a look at safety again with the liability stuff. I'm not the biggest fan, right? Okay, the signs we could do. Um, PPE, I'm just going to steer clear of, because I think, I just think if something happens to one of our customers selling this stuff, I don't want to be a party to that at all. Let's look at some signs. And again, I'm also, I guess, to sort of narrate what I'm going through in my head, I am also looking for stuff that is not overly big or bulky. I'm looking for the, if you imagine a Venn diagram, that's those two overlapping circles. I'm looking for something that is extremely high price point. Again, our $50 plus if we could, but also really small and light and can be put in a padded envelope and sent off, right? Just imagine, women's eyelash extensions, or a gold ring or something like this, or extremely high price point for the weight. If you could always almost make up a metric like, price per ounce, something like that, and you'd be very well to, you know, well to, my goodness, you'd be very happy, I think, with something that had a high um, MSRP, like retail price, versus the amount that it weighed. So a lot of these things are big. I do, that's not bad. That's not bad, but it's, with something like that, it's kind of hard to differentiate our brand a little bit. I'm gonna take a look at this seller in particular. That's big and flat. If it's a stiff, solid item, I'm kind of not as interested. Some lightsabers. Parking management could be an interesting niche. And you'll notice too that, like, most of this stuff is going to be fairly um, non-seasonal. Right. Wall station, I'm kind of interested. Again, we could either, if we have repeat purchases, the higher the price point is, the less worried I am whether or not we get retail purchases, because the lifetime value of that customer is front loaded, right? If you could, yeah, $10 a month, for 10 months is $100, or $100 one time. I mean, preferably $100 a month for 10 months, but you can only get so many repeat orders. Yeah, again, there's something like this is just it's too big, too much reliance on technical components. Customizable vinyl signs. There is a whole other business in custom printables, but you sort of have to have that infrastructure. So unless that's sort of in your wheelhouse and area of expertise, I wouldn't necessarily touch it. First thing, I'm curious to see if we can, like, this price point is far too low, but I'm just curious if we can make anything of this where the price point could be higher. Cone sleeves, mobile crane signals. I'm looking for something that, go to the second page. I'm curious as to why this sign is $46 and they can get away with it. I don't want to cost them the click though. That's SDS, the safety sheet. Interesting. Let's just look at those. They're probably too big, but let's just look at that too. The mask stuff is on its way out, so I don't think. And like, you sure make a quick buck maybe if you're in this space already. You could launch something like this when COVID first came out, but again, we're looking for a profit center for 10 years, 15 years. We're not looking for a quick buck. The Spanish language is interesting. That might be underserved. That may indeed be underserved. Okay. Welding. I like welding as a niche. Okay. Let's look at a few of these. Interesting, they're vendor central. You can tell because there's not their brand name there. They'd be using FBA. Pretty under optimized listing, not good use of photos, short bullets, low price point too, my goodness. I'm not sure if there's much we can do here. What about this? Let me try this. Let me try like a safety sign. Let me try like a bundle. See how high we can get these price points. Yeah, something like this, exactly. Safety data sheets. I think we had it. Yeah, exactly. Safety data sheets. Data, as they say. All right. Right, there's this yellow brand. Right, see, exact something like this. Like, it doesn't, you might be able to, as you ship these out, you may be able to get this down, but the package is going to be a little bit sizable. But that's more the price point that I would be looking at, right? And this these let's see. Exactly, stuff like this, right? Like, here's another attempt at it. It's not as well presented, so I mean that's an issue. But you literally have just the one player here. We'd want to do a little bit more research and see what they offer that that makes people happy, but then also what they're lacking. If I go here, and we'll see if there's an opening. I don't look at 1 star. I don't look at 2 star even. I want to look at 4 star. Those guys gave the product a good the good old honest college try, and they found it lacking something. Wall anchors are cheap, right? So if we made one with more substantial wall anchors, um, yeah, great product. Wish I had a place to list all chemicals on the premises. All right, it's another good piece of feedback. Did not come with a chain. That seems like maybe it would be a product issue. Uh, it is what it is. A little bowed, but am I straightening it over time? Da-da-da. Not quality is not great. Okay, so it just seems a little bit cheap, right? SDS. This is again, we'd want to really understand the space, do some research, maybe even talk to some companies, and see what maybe compliance rules have changed and they need a new product now, or maybe you know, and who's the buyer for this stuff at the companies, right? I love the concept of those. To modify it. Another hack that I showed in a YouTube Shorts on my channel not too long ago was that we actually had a bunch of reviews, and you could just copy and paste this review content and go to Chat GPT and say something like, "Hey, Chat GPT, here's a bunch of Amazon reviews. Can you tell me what the common themes are and what could be improved about this product?" And it'll summarize and tell you. Chat GPT is great at text summary. So here's our first idea. I think this one is pretty good. It would be, SDS display or something to, I don't know what the main keyword is yet, but I would wager it has something to do with this. And yeah, so again, we'd want to look at what these guys are offering. It's pretty good reviews, but not perfect, right? That's the other thing with these really competitive niches, like vitamin C tablets. The main player has 100,000 reviews and 5-star averages. Like, how on earth are we going to compete with that, right? But can we take down a 300 reviewed product, like many of which those customers are complaining of low quality, which means we can probably position ourselves as premium at a 79.99, make fewer sales but higher profit margins, optimize the heck out of the listing, because this isn't extremely optimized. It's good. They made use of all the photo slots, and I'm sure these have some keywords in them. But by no means is this an impenetrable fortress. So look, there's a good example right there. Industrial and scientific. My goodness, first hit of the day. Let's keep looking around here. I've got some other inspo here. Private property, no trespassing sign. And again, we got to figure out a way to get this price point up, guys. Like, this is wild, and I think you get 2 signs as well. So I mean, that's good value. That's good value for sure. Um, it's got the installation as well. Yeah, my goodness. Well, let's go no trespassing sign. I don't want to confuse the thing too much. We can. These guys are swinging a 4-pack for oh, 4-pack for 50. All right, it's not the worst. And again, I said $50, right? And so that's what that's kind of what I. Oh, fancy, fancy. Yes, exactly. Because look, at the end of the day, all of these are very safety looking. If you don't want to ruin the look and feel of your yard, um, I mean, this is no soliciting. This is a little bit different than private property. It's a little bit less aggressive, but I guess part of the reason these are all red is they want to catch the eye's attention. So fair enough. But at the same time, maybe you have a cohort of people that don't really want as a conspicuous a sign, or maybe they just want to hold it up like this. Maybe they don't even want to put it anywhere, such as pictured here, right? Uh, let's take a look. And again, we're just going to look at the 4 stars. I don't mind that, the people who love it, oh, that's great. The people who, you know, absolutely hated it, 1 and 2 stars. Again, I'm not super interested. So we want the objectively good reviews. I don't realize how small it would be. Very small. Works well in the yard. Good signage. Oh, Gonna be honest, guys, I didn't learn too much from that. I do see a mounted eye wash kit again with the liability though, and maybe the saline solution has expiry on it. I'm not too keen on that. All right, nothing really there. All right, there's our beloved SDS. All right, this one I was so I was so curious about because I'm sure you've seen these around, right? You've seen these, and these are literally oh, it's a cover, a bollard cover. So I think this is a plastic cover for an actual concrete sort of stone thing. All right, let's talk about it. I mean, I don't like that. That means they're working perfectly, which just means there's no. But it's on 180, so uh, let's see here. And again, you know, I don't like this for shipping reasons either. We could go look, just Google Amazon FBA revenue calculator, and we could get an estimate of like what sort of shipping fees and storage fees we might have to pay for something like this. But I'm turned off immediately by its volume, and also like when they do get reviews, they seem to do the job well. Like it's not there aren't people hurting here as much, right? Whereas with the SDS, I just felt like there were people who were dissatisfied with the best selling product. So that tells me that there's space. Because really, what does Amazon want algorithmically? They want shoppers to discover a product that's exactly what they need, buy the product, have a great experience, obviously not return it, have a good review, have a good experience. So that's what Amazon's algorithm is trying to optimize for. So literally, that's all we're doing is we're saying, hey, where are Amazon customers underserved right now, and what product would fill that void? And with this, not only does it have unfavorable shipping conditions, but I feel like most people who buy these products, not just this listing, but across the board, are generally pretty satisfied with it, which is great, but it's not great from an opportunity perspective. So we move on. Safety first. Oh yes, yes. With this, I had an insight that potentially um, uh, potentially Spanish signs could be underserved. So it's again maybe not a terribly large uh, niche, but um, security cameras. Maybe I just want to search the no. Mm. How is this $570? No comment on all this stuff, by the way. That's the safest vehicle there is. Okay, moving on. Something to look at the language thing, but I'm not super keen on it. Um, yes, okay, welding. Welding. I just want the sign. Now, welding warning sign. Hmm. And again, the price points are not fantastic. Is there a need for something that is more expensive? Um, I don't necessarily see it. Let me try going high to low here. 100. Hmm. But if they don't have reviews, I'm just very skeptical that many people have purchased them at all. Um, and they don't have a BSR on the record, so that certainly means that for the most part, they're just listed and maybe get a few sales once in a blue moon, but that it doesn't validate these products in my eyes. You can try and charge whatever you want for a product, but the important question is, are people buying it? And at the higher price points for this, I would say not. It looks like we can get, a sale or two at the $50. Okay, yeah, I don't think so. It doesn't seem to me that welders um, would need to pay much more. Look at what else we got in welding. Shirts and yeah, successful welding sign is much less than that, right? Welding coupons. See, it's you know, something I'm not aware of, as I'm not a welder. But you know, if you did the extra work of gaining experience around welding, or if you are a welder yourself, even better, you would know how to make a listing that satisfies some unmet needs here. Especially you could look at some reviews, and and you could get a sense, and you could launch something there. You could probably do that. I like the price point too. I like that it's for a specific person, those who weld. It's always smart to build products around a specific psychographic or demographic. Let's go back to the root sort of page that we had here. Oh, yeah, and so that's just that we literally just looked at one area in safety, which we weren't really going to go into anyways, and we found the SDS niche, maybe some Spanish language stuff, and the welding stuff. Uh, and we could do that ditto for a bunch of these other ones. Let me know if you want to see these. If it was helpful, do leave a comment. I also wrote you a book. I will drop it in the comments of this video. It's got my 8 years of Amazon FBA experience packed into it, and data from spending $14 million a year on Amazon ads, and it's totally free. I want you to have it, because I feel like if you put out enough good stuff in the world, good stuff happens. And we need more entrepreneurs who are creating independent wealth. So, with that said, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.